Hey guys, have you ever just wanted to get together with a bunch of friends and drink expensive things and have a good old time? Well, you just might want to be a sommelier. So, the basis of what a sommelier does is we get together and we drink good wine and we talk about good wine, and then a lot of us work at restaurants and help other people drink and talk about good wine. It it's pretty awesome. I know a lot of you probably like to drink, and the basis of a sommelier, you got to do a little bit of drinking, and that's always fun. In now's day and age, sommeliers are getting a lot more popular. The idea of a master sommelier is a really big thing that blew up after there was a movie called that gained a lot of attention after it was put on Netflix. It followed a couple sommeliers as on their journey to becoming a master sommelier, and it showed just how much work really goes into it. So there's some people like me who just do it for their work. The more knowledge I have about wine, the easier it is to sell wine, and I run a wine store, so that's how I got into it. But there's a lot of people out there who really love what they do, and now all they do is talk about wine, and they get paid a lot of money. Master sommeliers can get up to $100,000 just to go to a speech, and they don't have any other background other than what they work towards in the master sommelier. So it's a really cool microculture, and it's a lot of really nice people. Very not to sound silly, but it's super hip. I'm super hip, so it makes sense that I would be in this microculture. I would say a lot of what we believe is that wine has a lot more to it than just to get people drunk. We believe in the history of an area. The whole idea of wines coming from the old world, such areas like France and Italy and Spain, there's so much history in those areas that affects the wine in such areas. And it's a really cool thing to see just how certain things in history affect certain areas of wine. And that's a big part of what drew me into this, because I really like history. And, the idea of being able to drink and talk about history at the same time was very appealing. It's really fun. I would say the characteristics of those who belong to sommeliers, they tend to be people of a higher class, because wine's not cheap, and if you really want to get good, you got to drink a lot of wine, because the only way to really learn is to taste wines next to each other. You're not just going to learn by drinking the same wine over and over again. You really got to taste things next to each other to pick up the nuance. You want to know, if you really want to pick up the differences, you got to taste things next to each other. And if you're going to taste, some really different things, you're going to have to try expensive wine, because that's where wine really gets to a difference. Is with inexpensive wine, you get one note normally. There's no depth. You get a little bit of fruit and you get some silky tannins, and yeah, it might go down easy, it might taste good, but there's no depth. When you go and buy a $50 bottle of wine, you're going to get that nice dark fruit you would get from a $10 bottle of wine, but you're also going to get all kinds of spice. You're going to get minerality. You're going to get a lot of like dried, almost like herbaceous notes on a nice bottle of wine. And it's really cool to see how dried grapes can go from such Welch's grape juice all the way up to a $2,000 bottle of Burgundy. And it all starts as the same thing. It's all grapes, but just the different terroir can really affect the grapes. The soil characteristics can affect the grapes, just stuff like that. So it really draws people who have a little bit of a mind to dissect things. They tend to be a little more inquisitive. They tend to be, like I said, you have to have a little bit more money, so definitely affluent people. It tends to draw people in the bar industry, the beverage industry, the restaurant industry, because that's where you could actually use this knowledge on a daily basis. So it draws a lot of people like that. I would say we strongly, as a microculture, we strongly believe that wine is the drink of the future. We want to educate more and more people on wine, because there's so much different stuff out there that everyone could find something they like. When I talk to people and they're like, oh, I don't like white wine, I don't like red wine, it's like, no, you just didn't like the white wine you tried, because there's 50,000 other white wines that you might really like. And if you just sat down with a good sommelier, they could get you a good bottle in 2 minutes. If you tell me what you think you like, I'm sure I could find you a good bottle within 2 or 3 minutes in my store. And then I would say a lot of behaviors and patterns of communication that are different with sommeliers than the general culture. We use a lot of different phrases that sound pretentious. We're going to say things like terroir. We're going to say things like herbaceous. We're going to say things like earthy. We're going to say things like musty. We're going to say things like cat pee, and we're going to mean it as a good thing. New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc can stink like cat pee, and you're going to love the taste of it. So there's a lot of stuff like that in communication that when two sommeliers get together, it's almost like we're speaking a different language. In reality, though, we're just talking about wine. And that's very interesting. If you get a couple sommeliers together in a group and you have, normies there also, they're not going to understand. They're going to sit there and think we're making stuff up. We could talk about a wine and we could get 16 different flavors out of one wine, and you give that same wine to someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and they're going to literally think that we just lied and made up those 16 different flavors. So, that's a really distinct characteristic that's different between sommeliers and the rest of the dominant culture. And so in the United States right now, there are a handful of master sommeliers. So of the worldwide 236 master sommeliers, 149 of them are in America. So that's the top of the sommeliers. And 125 of those are men, and 24 of those are women. So we definitely draw more men than women, but believe it or not, women have a better shot of going the distance because they are proven to taste better. They actually pick up more notes. They're genetically made to be a better sommelier. So as of now, there's a lot more women coming in. There's a lot of companies that are hiring women and paying for them to go through the program. And it's really looking up right now. So that's an interesting movement. I think over the next 15, 20 years, there will be a lot more women master sommeliers, and it'll be really interesting to see how that affects the business. Some interesting facts about sommeliers is the Court of Master Sommeliers, the people who actually run the whole show, they're the people who give you the test or the people who give you the classes. They've been around since 1977. And this year, 70 people took the Master Sommelier exam. One person passed. So there's about an 8% pass rate as far as the Master Sommelier exam, which is an interesting fact. There are another very crazy fact. There's 10,000 different varieties of grapes, and a Master Sommelier is supposed to know every single one. Not only are they supposed to know the grape, they're supposed to know where they come from and exactly what they taste like. 10,000 different grapes. The U.S. loves wine. That's not an interesting fact. But another interesting fact is, last year they consumed 789 million gallons of wine. That's quite a bit of wine. Another interesting thing that most people don't believe is the shape of a wine glass can drastically affect how you consume that wine as far as quality. The shape of the glass really matters when it comes to smell, and as you're sipping, a nice wine glass actually shoots, by the shape of the glass, it actually shoots the esters of the esters are what the smell is. It actually shoots different molecules in the esters into your nose as you go for the sip, and that all enhances the flavor because you're getting all those aromatics while you're sipping. It's a big part of wine, so if you want to get good, go out and get a good glass. Now, in conclusion, I say everyone should go out and learn about wine because it's an awesome thing. You're probably going to drink anyway. You might as well do something that you like, and you might as well learn about something that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. People have fought wars over wine. Wine is beautiful. Wine is majestic, and wine is magnificent. Eventually, if we ran out of money worldwide, you know what people might do? They might start using wine as money because it's fantastic and everybody loves it. So in conclusion, sommeliers are a magnificent group of people, and they're keeping a tradition of a beautiful thing alive. The history of wine is something that should never die, and I hope that it continues forever and only gets more people involved.